I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending November the 11th, brought to you in part by the International Brangus Breeders Association. Brangus cattle have always been known for their heat tolerance, but did you know they withstand cold weather too? Brangus cattle adapt well to any type of a climate. Maybe it's time you consider going Brangus. For more information or to find a breeder near you, visit gobrangus.com. The pressure from the hog industry has really taken its toll on cattle, and cattle have kind of handled their own problems here as far as supply and demand, and we've found a price where those supply and demand curves intersect, and we've taken a big beating on it. But you know, we're playing in here pretty good, but just all this pressure from these hogs, and they're all pretty much going to the same place. They're to fill the protein needs of the customer, but the hogs are just so plentiful right now, and they're slaughtering so many of them, and it's just a lot of pressure on our cattle market. And we'll talk about those hogs here in just a minute. You look at your cattle futures for the week. Last week, live cattle futures for December, Monday was down 107. Tuesday on election day it was up 95 cents. Wednesday was up 87. Thursday up $1.02, and Friday up $1.10. Feeder cattle for January, Monday was down $1.60. Tuesday up $2.97. Wednesday up 50 cents. Thursday up 60 cents. Friday up 70 cents. So it didn't look like that the Trump deal hurt the cattle futures at all. But December live cattle ended the week at 105.60, which was up 288 for the week. Feeder cattle for January ended the week at 121.02, which was up 317 for the week. November spot feeders at 125.72. Your fat cattle trade never really developed this past week. And we're going to come out with a low volume of trade, and these packers are really trying to show how strong they were and that they don't need any cattle. But guess what? They're going to need some cattle this week. And you guys in the northern plains, quit selling yourselves short, because they need those really high quality grading cattle. We've got a big huge spread between our choice and our select boxes, and they need to hang in there. This past week, just a real meager trade, anywhere from 103 to 105, but a lot more 105. And our weighted average on the live basis is probably going to come out to be a little bit stronger than last week, or than the prior week. But actually your market, as far as your trends, were unevenly steady on a live basis. Dress sales were at mostly 162, but hardly any dress sales, hardly any dress trade at all, but 162, and that would have been a buck lower. But they're going to need some cattle this week. They're going to need them early in the week, so you can see them start trying to come to their milk there maybe on a Tuesday this week. But you look at your box beef cutout values, the average of the weekly trade last week on choice boxes was 185.47, which was down 156. Selects was 170.22, which was down 321. And that choice select spread now is $15.25. So those choice boxes are worth a whole lot more than the select. So they should be going after those pins that include a lot more of those predominantly English cattle. It's got a lot of days on them. They're going to get way up there high in the quality grade. But you look at the slaughter last week was 610,000 estimated, which was 4,000 more than the previous week and 52,000 more than the same week a year ago. But you look at that in comparison to what the hogs are. These hogs, they've just been killing so many of them. Year to date, they've killed almost 111 million hogs here in the United States, which is up just 1.6%, so they always kill a lot of them. But that 111 million hogs is compared to 26 million cattle, and we're up over 5% on our year-to-date slaughter on the cattle. But there's just so much pork being dumped on the market right now, and it's not like chicken. It's pretty good product. And you can go to the store and you can get a good-sized ribeye right there for the same price as you can get a whole platter full of pork steaks. So, you know, it's not too hard when people are running short on money to what they're going to feed their family, and it's just a lot of competition there. But they really got the hog market beat down. It's about 41.5 cents in the meat, or if any of you remember selling hogs live, that's about $33 live for a hog, which is pretty weak price there. But if you look at the lean hog board, expecting a dramatic improvement. They can control the production in those hog factories pretty easy, a lot easier than we can in the cattle business. But you know, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days, you know, it's pretty easy to figure, and you can turn that up or down real easy. But they backed it way off. But they've got a lot of hogs right here to get slaughtered right now, and then some of these pork plants in the Midwest are even paying overtime, which they never do, to their plant workers to try to get some of these hogs slaughtered and get them run through the system. Of course, they either have them, they own the contracts, or they own the hogs on all of them. So it behooves them to go ahead and get work through there where they can get the market turned around. But the supply of hogs that are dumped on the market is going to go down dramatically because they really backed off on the upcoming production of hogs. And you can see how dramatically it's going to come up, $15 to $20 just between now and into the spring. So if the hog market goes up that much, it's bound to take some of the pressure off the cattle, and which does look pretty good as far as competing against beef down the road. But the bad thing is our beef doesn't look, or our fat cattle don't look all that great going down the road. And if you look at that drop off between April and June fats on your futures, there is $8. That's a lot, and that's mostly due to this big calf crop that we're selling right now, and those cattle are going to be coming out then. We're expecting a lot more pressure, and really it doesn't look like, even though we've got a good wheat crop and there's a lot of ample hay and things out there and to dry winter these calves on, it doesn't look all that great on buying these stockers and turning around and getting a big yearling price on them, because if you look down the road on our feeder futures, it's not too whippy either. But you look at this past week, cash feeders, your cattle going right into the feed yard, selling mostly $2 to $4 lower. And the reason is there's not a whole lot of yearlings out there right now, and there is good demand for a true yearling, but there's just getting so much pressure from these big calves. And there's a lot of heavy calves weighing over 700 pounds coming out of the northern plains and places, and they're competing with those big feeder cattle, and they're feeding calves. They've got to go right on to feed. But if you get down into your lighter weights of calves, under 6, and especially some weaned calves that have some condition to them, they're selling from steady to $5 higher. And you get down there close to where this wheat's really popping from all that moisture we had there that previous weekend, then you can get up there as much as $10 higher. But you know, I was getting to thinking that you know, those fancy calves that are coming off these ranches, these one iron calves, I mean, just peas in a pod, all one color and predominantly black, coming out. These odd bunches of calves that we get in the southern plains this time of year, and a lot of them originated a lot further east than where they're selling. Those calves are bringing almost as much or more than what the northern plains fancy calves are bringing. And so I got on the Cattle Market Central there to run a little test, and it's pretty easy to do this on a quick report. Ran a little test there just on 400 to 600 pound steer calves for the last week in the northern plains compared to the southern plains. But you look there at the northern plains, their best day was on Thursday. And that's true for all classes of feeder cattle. The best day was on Thursday for some reason. In the Thursday auctions, they were selling the best. And then the northern plains, those 400 to 600 pound steer calves were averaging right at 143. But then you look in the southern plains, and this is on a minimum bunch of 25 head. So we're talking about better calves, not single odd ducklings there, but a decent bunch of calves, you know, maybe not a full load or a ring full, but at least 25 head. So you're getting some pretty good test of calves. But you know, in the southern plains, they're not going to be near the quality, near as fancy as they are in the northern plains. But you look at the Southern Plains average and it's 140, 445. So about $1.50 higher on the same weight of calves in the Southern Plains versus the Northern Plains, all due to that wheat pasture that is really popping down here in the Southern Plains. But Cattle Market Central is a really good tool there, and you want to get on there at cattlemarketcentral.com and take a look at it, get your log in and go in there and play around with it, and it doesn't cost you anything. And if you've got a sale barn you'd like to have your market included there, it doesn't cost you anything for that. You just need to get a hold of us, give us a barn request, and it's a fully automated system, and don't have to pay a reporter to come sit there. You don't have to beg your state government to come give you a market report or anything. Just get a hold of us and we'll hook you up. But for my home office here in Canyon, Texas, we'll talk to you on Wednesday.